Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have the Automotive Warranty Network panel. And Ted, we're going to talk about a topic today that is really top of mind for dealerships.
It is David Reinicke is with us. He's the president of Automotive Warranty Network. David, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Sarah. It's good to be back. Thanks for always having me.
Good to see you. And this theme, this racing theme, David, I couldn't help but notice. I know you're a big fan of motorsports, F1, and love the racing analogy that you've been sharing with us in the green room.
Yeah, I love F1. I love motorsports, so couldn't be a better theme for me. We're actually going to be at the race next weekend in Vegas, so very, very exciting theme. So, and yeah, we did a racing analogy around the warranty process, and I know I'm always talking about the warranty process. I mean, obviously, that's what we do. That's what I know best. So, we put together a racing analogy video about how racing relates to the warranty process. So basically, the warranty claim is reliant on your technicians and your advisors, so relatable to the spotters and the pit crew in the racing arena, right? So you can't win the race if your spotters and your technician and your pit crew aren't doing their part in the process, right? So same thing with the warranty process. I mean, when the warranty administrator gets the warranty claim at the end of the process, the advisor's already written up the ticket, the technician's already repaired the vehicle. We're relying on the fact that the technician repaired the vehicle properly, installed the right parts, right repair procedures, correct diagnosis, right? So it's a pretty cool video, pretty cool analogy that we put together, and I think you're going to show it here at some point, right? So
We are, and David, very appreciative of that. Sarah, a lot happening in the industry with warranty. Not only this analogy, a lot of things that have happened this year that have affected dealers, that affected them with a lot of unexpected things we'll talk about that David is helping dealers with. But it continues to be a focus. I think, Sarah, also, we're hearing a lot about things like dealers getting audited and, manufacturers looking a lot harder at reimbursements.
You're so right, Ted. And, there's a lot of factors that dealerships are juggling, but, the manufacturers are also paying very close attention to their bottom lines in this entire process. And David, we've talked about it before, but as Ted mentioned, it's a timely topic and one that, again, is very, very important right now in our industry. But the dreaded word audits. And, there's more and more dealers that are becoming more aware of the sensitivity to these, because there's a lot of cost factors that are really at play in this. Could you describe a little bit more about what things that they should be aware of right now related to audits?
yeah, of course. And I know I'm always pounding the table and standing on my soapbox here talking about audits every time we talk, but it's really a huge thing right now in the industry. We're seeing manufacturers that historically don't audit their dealerships now auditing their dealerships, right? So, and chargebacks, 30, 40, $100,000. So they're not teaching experiences. They're financially punitive, and there's a lot of them. So, as I've said before, past years, our company having 1,500 dealerships, we might see 30 or 40 audits a year. Now we're seeing 30 or 40 audits a month. So the manufacturers are really making it a goal to not just hit 10 or 20% of their stores, but to hire more auditors and hit if they could hit 100%, I'm sure they would want to, but as many as they can. And like you said, Sarah, a lot of those factors, in my opinion, and I think a lot of dealers' opinions, are the fact that your labor rate increases. So your labor rate, we have some dealerships that have labor rates as high as $280, $300 an hour. There's more and more states that are having labor multipliers. So they get 1.5 times the manufacturer's labor time. Parts markup increases. So all this money that the dealerships are entitled to, the manufacturers are going to come back and audit the work. And it's not just warranty administration that leads to audit chargebacks, right? Like I said in my racing analogy, it's repair procedures. And these are the biggest things. Again, not just warranty administration. It's looking back at, was the technician punched on at the time the diagnostics were run? Did they repair the car properly? Did they use all the one-time use parts? So all these things that are beyond warranty administration control is things that they're also looking at. So we're trying to help dealerships educate their advisors, technicians on proper repair procedures. Other things that they're looking at are metrics. So they weigh how many, how high are they in add-on repairs, or cost per repair. How many times has the vehicle been serviced in the last period of time? So there's a lot of factors, but it's a huge thing right now. And again, I hate to keep standing on my soapbox talking about it, but it's such an important thing for dealerships, because it's a lot of money. So
And David, warranty, the complexity of the vehicle, warranty continues to increase. A lot of vehicles come back for warranty. I've never seen, on the recall side, so many recalls. It seems that I've seen in the last few months. Some manufacturers a lot more than others, but David, that's all warranty, okay? And
yep.
the dealer's got to account to get that work performed, got to have the parts in, and has got to have the procedure to address that. And this continues to be the biggest source of revenue for a dealer. So it's got to be done right, and they've got to have a partner to make sure that they're on their toes and helping them be compliant.
Yeah, it's you're absolutely right. It has to be done right, and again, it's not just the warranty administrator, whether it's us or another warranty company, or you have your in-house warranty administrator. It's really dependent on the other factors in it. So, namely the technician, right? So, yeah.
David, I'm, just in dealerships that are listening and thinking about this, and as we know, you mentioned manufacturers that typically didn't audit in the past have now been more financially punitive, and they're showing up. And as we know, an audit, when it takes place, they're not going away empty handed. They're gonna
No.
they're gonna get their money's worth for sending those auditors out or doing that process. So, as far as, some of the pieces, you touched on areas like in the technicians, repairs, where this is, really important to be, paying close attention to what's going on in the repair order. But how does this factor into pieces like recalls that more manufacturers are, putting out there, and some of these, upcoming ones like software updates and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, recalls and software updates are very important. I don't see the manufacturer auditing, recalls and maintenance claims all that much, although they may. It really factors into, your mainstream repairs. There's lots of engines, transmissions with certain manufacturers, very expensive repairs, like you said. There's more electronic components on vehicles nowadays. You know, like you said, simple software updates, that kind of thing. So batteries for EVs, are very, very expensive. So the expense is just really, really high. And going back to what you said about manufacturers that are auditing now that haven't audited in the past, recently I was at the Mopar Parts and Service Show,
Yes.
and typically we have about 200, 250 CDJR clients, and typically that's a brand we wouldn't see auditing, but dealerships are very aware and very cognizant, and we're approaching our booth, and with this concern, knowing that the manufacturer is going to audit them, knowing that why the manufacturer is going to audit them. So we just see a lot more of it. So
And David, there may be other companies who provide this type of service, but you do it on a large scale. Let's take a look at that if we could. You are the largest provider of this type of work for automotive retail dealers here, and
yep.
we've talked about a couple different brands. A lot of those brands are now, you know, they want their dealers to be the right hands, okay, and make sure this is handled properly. Where before the dealers have been handling it kind of all alone on their, doing their own thing with their own warranty administrators. But talk to us about the things, the advantages you have of dealing with so many of an OEM's dealers and looking for, let's say, patterns or commonalities or, typical claims that will raise flags.
Yes, so having the broad net that we have over not only certain manufacturers, but just over the entire industry, right? We're able to, broadcast out to certain, um, like if we have, let's just say CDJR, like I just said, like we try to look at what's happening across the industry and make sure that we're educating all of our dealers on what's going on and what we're seeing, broadly, not just with their store or their region, but just what we're seeing within that manufacturer broadly. But other benefits are, we have multi, probably within each brand, at least 30 or 40 plus warranty administrators that are only focused on that brand. So, they're not dabbling in Ford and Toyota and Mercedes. If they do Toyota, they know Toyota, they stay fluent with Toyota, they know it like the back of their hand, right? So there's a lot of benefit in, being that intimate with each manufacturer. The other benefits that we have, I think, that we offer to, our clients is that we have an auditing and training department. So again, we're really big on the education part, right? In that pre-audit part. So we want to help you see what your problems are now before the audit comes, right? So we want to look at where you're at today. We can do a mock audit and say, if the auditor were to come in today, this would be the chargeback, and this is why, right? And then we want to help train them on, okay, if it's a technician issue, we want to come into your dealership either remotely or virtually or in person, sorry,
Hmm. Hmm.
and work with your staff on those issues. So we have skin in the game when a dealership goes through an audit. So we guarantee the work that we do. So if somebody gets charged back because of our errors, we're going to pay those. So we want to make sure dealerships are educated and following the right process. So
And David, as dealerships continue to evolve their hospitality, that's been a big topic of conversation at the Fixed Ops Roundtable that we've heard, from a variety of different companies and a lot of different dealerships as they're looking at their customer experience. How does this really impact some of the pieces we're seeing with the adaptation of mobile service in this customer equation? Are there certain repair orders that you're finding are more prevalent to, audit mistakes versus others?
Hmm.
Sure. I think having all the data that the manufacturers have when a claim's submitted, they're able to look, at certain things before they even come to audit the store, right? So I guess where I'm going with that a little bit is like they can tell if a dealership doesn't submit a claim with all the one-time use parts, for instance, right?
Right.
So they know that before they even come into audit you. So I would say they typically look for bigger repairs,
The big stuff.
transmissions, engines.
Yeah.
If one manufacturer has a, a broad issue with just batteries, let's say, they're going to look for like energy diagnosis on batteries and that kind of thing. So there's definitely they will look for commonalities through claims that are submitted and definitely audit, you know, more broadly those certain types of claims. So
And David, I would think the big stuff, like you just mentioned, that's in the shop, right? That's the stuff the customer has to come in with their vehicle to the dealership, and now that's a more significant piece of work, and probably lower hanging fruit for the audit, if you will, for the manufacturer to perform. But I think there's a great advantage in that you deal with significant numbers of each OEM's dealers to look for those common things that you're seeing, and also the mock audit that you do really helps the dealer because now from this point forward, you find something, but we're going to make sure they're not going to do that now. Okay, moving forward on new repair orders, and the RO is of course a legal document as well.
yeah, no, and that's exactly what we do in that mock audit. And then the other thing that we do is we help monitor their trend reports. So we have a couple dealerships right now that we're looking at their trends because those will trigger an audit as well, right? In some manufacturers. So if you're consistently in the red in certain items, we help a dealership understand that and advise them on what they need to do to get those out of the red, and then consistently follow up on those reports so that we can help them either abstain from an audit or have a better experience during the audit, right? Because audits are going to happen. I mean, regardless, no matter how good your numbers are, you're still going to get audited at some point. So
Sarah, one of the things I like about Automotive Warranty Network is not just that they do great work for a lot of dealers, but they're also a very humble organization that gives back to our automotive community, especially at this time of year. David does a lot of things for the industry, for the community, for the families. Okay. I know it's been said that AWN is a big family in itself. David, recently, you also became involved with Northwood University. Sarah
Yep.
and I had a chance to meet your executive team when they all came up to Northwood for the
Great
International
time.
Auto Show, and I saw you on the stage there for the opening of the auto show and working with the leadership of Northwood and all those young minds, those students
Yep.
who are going out into the world and now going to represent dealers and other parts of the industry. Talk to us about that, why you decided to get involved with that on such a big level, and I know it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, no, we were just really blown away, honestly. When we were first going to the university, I thought it would just be like in any other college, right? Like, the students have their headphones on, buried in their phones. That was not the case at all at Northwood. They were really engaged, really outgoing. I like the curriculum that they do at Northwood as far as like really hands-on. There's really not a textbook. It's more like here, get your hands dirty and do it. And you could really see that in the students up there, and they're just really driven, every single one of them that I talked to. So I walked through the auto show. All the students approached me, talked to me about the product, were really educated on their product. And in the show they put on, they put on the show, but the students run the show. And just how the coordination and how impressive that was. And I just see really good things coming out of Northwood, and we really want to support that. I think not only the industry but the world needs really hardworking, driven people that aren't expecting just a handout to get out of college and say, I went for 4 years, I need to make $150,000 a year, right? That's what I deserve. Like they just seem driven, and my wife and I just really support that effort. So.
Well, David, a lot of dealers right now are looking ahead to 2026 and thinking about what they need to be focusing on and looking at all of the problems or the potential that they have in their businesses. Talk to us a little bit about what you have upcoming for this new year.
Oh gosh, just busy. I mean, I can't believe it's already November, but for the new year, we're just going to focus on quality work that we're doing. Helping dealerships stay compliant, stay to audits. I mean, obviously, nobody likes to get that big chargeback. So, other things that we're working on is we're really enabling some technology in our business. So, we have our cars application, we have some of the metrics and the reporting that we do, but we're working on some other, AI-driven tools. So, we're really focused on technology going into the new year, and we have some exciting things that we'll be unveiling probably second quarter. So.
All right. Everybody, as you're making your plans now, going into the later part of the fourth quarter for 2026, you want to include your warranty. You want to take a look at your processes, how you're submitting them, how timely those submissions are. Also, talk to David Reinicke at Automotive Warranty Network and his team. They are amazing. They do a lot of great work for dealers here at the Fixed Ops
Thank you, Ted.
Roundtable, automotive industry specific. And I know David, Sarah, and I want to wish you and your family there at Automotive Warranty Network a very happy Thanksgiving later next week as we all celebrate that.
Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Ted and Sarah as well. So hope you enjoy it with your families.
All right, everybody. AWN, fast, secure, and compliant claims administration. David Reinicke with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.